Hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. We have a few things going on this upcoming weekend. We know that we are promoting the Black Family Reunion event. So, for all information, you can go to www.bfr CLT, so like Black Family Reunion, Charlotte. So BFRCLT.com. They're starting off with a breakfast from 8 to 10. They're having a domestic violence campaign. I think there's going to be a representation of Million Man. Um, I think talking about the march or something like that. And then, of course, from 1 to 5 is going to be domestic violence speakers, Nicole Williams, Tiffany Brown, some other ladies that have been on the show, Cindy Doll Faith Smith. And a couple other ladies, some great speakers. Even during the breakfast, they'll be having speakers and music. And then from 6 to 8 that evening, so it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. event. It's going to be at the Movement School at 2701 Freedom Drive, Charlotte. That's this Saturday, October 15th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 2701 Freedom Drive, Charlotte. Um, Website www.bfrclt.com. There is one ticketed event, but everything is mostly free that day. So, but they do want you to register, so they make sure they have enough food and everything for everybody. Also taking place, we know that the Media Blast, Jonathan Coleman, founder of Blacktopia, is doing a Blast Against Cancer campaign. So you can go to themediablast.net to find out more information. Or if you're in his group, Blacktopia, you've probably seen some advertisement there. We know that Tiffany Brown, who's always in the community, she's been on the show. She's an author. She's also doing Project Safe Haven, so she's collecting items for families in crisis. You can call 877-245-SAFE, or you can always cash app to BVP Safe Haven. Thank you, Alan. $ BVP Safe Haven if you want to cash app. But today we are going to be talking to the amazing Lady Melinda Sue. So, Alan, you can bring her in. Hey, Lady Melinda.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
All is well. I just want to go ahead and start off by saying thank you for inviting me to participate in this awesome platform for today.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. You are always welcome. So I've been telling you at this event I went to were you there in July? I think it was. No, I don't know when we went, but we went to King of Prussia. It was a brilliant lady movement event, and I met all these wonderful ladies. So Lady Melinda Sue was one of the ladies I met there, and she has an organization, Grace International Light. She's going to tell us about that. She's going to talk about her breakthrough programs, and they are hosting also on October 15th, this Saturday, the fourth annual Domestic Violence Awareness Gala. And so you get to dress up. They have caterers and all kinds of fun stuff. It's a really a gala, and is the title is Love Shouldn't Hurt. So we're going to talk some more about that. And that event is going on in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So, Lady Melinda, I want you to, since this is your first time with the family, just say hello. Tell them a little bit about yourself, being a mom, and you served in the army. So we were in the military. I'm not sure which branch, but you served. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll jump into some more of the specifics about your event.
All right, sounds great. Sound great. As stated, my name is known as Lady Melinda Sue, and I am the founder and advocate for domestic violence, but I'm the owner of, excuse me, Grace International Light. And the light actually stands for, it's spelled LITE, and the LITE represents live inspired to excel, beyond standing for living beyond the trauma that you have experienced. Um, our organization is actually 4 years old. We're coming up on our 5th year, so I'm definitely excited. I am an outstanding, proud mother of one beautiful daughter, and she recently got married, so she's a young adult, young lady. One thing I used to tell her all the time was that never say you're grown as long as you're in my house, because I'm a firm believer if you're in my wallet, then you're not grown. Grown people take care. So now she's at a point where she can actually say,
Mama, I'm grown.
I'm grown, because she's out of my pocket. But I'm forever grateful and thankful for her. She's a great daughter, and I
Oh,
thank God for her. I am retired military. I did serve went through two deployments, one to Iraq and one to Haiti. And yeah, and so I am victorious from domestic violence. At one point, I lived a life of being captivated, if I may use that word gently, embarrassed, ashamed, the whole 9 yards of domestic violence. So it's not a matter of me reading it in a book or hearing it from lip service as to what domestic violence is, but I have actually experienced it. And on today, I'm able to live my life free from that experience, well, the trauma of that experience. And so being able to learn how to heal. Yes.
awesome. Well, I'm so sorry you went through that, but I'm appreciative of your fighting spirit, serving in the military and then fighting your way through this for you and for your daughter.
Mhm.
So I appreciate all of your services. So let's talk about, I know some people, like you said, you feel ashamed and different things like that, but what made you say, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to start this organization and I'm going to help other people. What made you do that?
I got tired of being tired. And when I say tired of being tired, um, I didn't understand why I had the mindset in certain areas when it came to why we do what we do. There we go. And so what was shaping my character. And then I finally realized, because as a matter of fact, I had gotten to a place in my life where I literally, the word hate is so harsh. However, let's just say I had a very strong dislike of men because of what happened, to the point where I even just to hear the voice or the name or whatever, excuse
Mhm,
me, it would just make me very angry.
mhm,
And so I got to a point where I was just tired. Like I said, I was tired of being tired. And so I went through and I went to, it was a required health session that I went to. And within that session, we had to do different activities. And within doing those activities is when I realized that I was actually a victim of domestic violence. It's one thing, you know it, but then you stay in denial. So I was a victim of it, but I remained in denial for myself, more than anything, because I was ashamed that it happened to me. As strong of a person as I am, and as much care, I mean, have a giving heart, and then I just couldn't get beyond the sting of it. And so then, like as I stated earlier, I just got tired of being tired when it comes to having such a negative mindset and even allowing my emotions to get controlled in a negative sense when it came to men. And
mhm,
once I made that decision, I had to have courage to make the appointment to say, okay, I'm going to do this. And in making that decision, that's one of the best decisions I ever made. But I had to learn also in that process that, and tired of being tired, and for me giving myself the courage, even in the midst of me giving myself courage to start to want to tap into it, I had to pray really hard. I was like, God, you got to help me. You got to help me. You got to help me with
mhm,
this. You got to help me with this. And yeah, and that's where it was. And then I got to a point where I couldn't. When I finally got to the point where I could tell it, I was crying, 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 crying. I'm telling you, I was just crying, crying, crying.
I
But it
know
was
that
so many
feeling.
years of that being on the inside. So just crying, 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 crying. And so now, to God be the glory, I'm at a point where I can share my story, as well as share different techniques and ways of doing things, so that you can start that, so that a person so that a person can start the healing process to move forward with their life.
Wow. I saw Ellen popped up there sharing Paget. She said blessings.
Yes.
But yes, it and it is a process, um, because nobody wakes up, as they're growing up and they're like, I want to be a part of a domestic violence situation, you know, and
Exactly.
we always, when you're on the outside, say, well, why do they put up with that? I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have taken that, you know. And we say that, but we never know what we'll do until we're in that situation, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Because one thing is you always, from my experience, I always justified for them. And when I say that, when you hear people say, just like you were saying a few minutes ago, well, if it was me, I wouldn't have done that. But the thing of it is, many people stay there because one, they're ashamed.
Yeah.
Number two, they're praying and believing in their heart that that person will change because they apologize to them. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. You made me angry and all this other different stuff. And so the victim, because they have such a connection and does not want to walk away, it's like they end up giving chance after chance after chance. But then you have other people that stay there because they have not put themselves in a position to have the confidence to walk away.
Right.
Because some people feel like if the abuser was the sole income for the household, some have the mindset, well, what am I going to do? He makes all the money. Well, there are different systems out there in place. I'm not saying that we have to be a part of the system itself when it comes to the finance side of the house. However, there are systems in place that can help you get started. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing, but it can help you get started, for the healing process and for you to gather and regroup as to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what had to take place with me as well. I didn't have to, thank the Lord, I didn't have to do a whole lot of stuff because I've always worked. So I've always had the income. But again, the biggest thing is getting beyond the shame of, I think it's the shame more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, well, how did this happen to me? How do we end up over here and all this different stuff? And you're just trying to keep hope alive and believing that your marriage or let me say relationship will work.
Right. Because there, like you said, there's that connection. At one point in time, it was good, even when they apologize, and it can be good for a period of time. And you're like, okay, you know, this is the person I love. This is the person I chose to live my life with, or this is the person I chose to have children with. And then you think about the children, and there's a lot of threats that are going on that people don't understand. Well, if you leave, you can't take the child. If you leave, I'm going to tell everybody such and such and such. There's so much going on in that household that people
Yes,
really do not understand.
exactly. And even in dating, domestic violence
Mm,
takes place with a lot of people that are dating, in high school, and and some of them, they get so, like we were saying, love is love. And so when a person is in a kind of relationship and the red flags are there, but have a tendency to believe that the person is going to change and or the situation is going to change. I mean, who wakes up with the idea and say, okay, I'm gonna give my heart to this person, this person, this person, this person. Nobody does that when it
right,
comes to that intimate relationship with someone. So you just have to be able to recognize the red flags and let them be just what they are, red flags. Because what
right.
I did was I saw many of the red flags, but I made them yellow or orange to accommodate me staying there, to justify me staying there. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, they were
Right.
red, but I made them yellow and orange. So hey,
That's true. That's true, and we do that. I mean, I've done it. We've all done it in some capacity or another. It may not have turned into domestic violence, but we've all seen those flags with, an individual or even a friendship that, because I mean, friendships can be abusive. You have work
yes,
relationships that are abusive. I mean,
yes,
it happens in so many different forms, and
yes,
a lot of times, because we do want to care for the abuser, We want them to be healed and everything, but a lot of the times we can't be the one that heals them, right?
Right.
We
Right.
think our love is going to pull them out of that situation, our beautiful family, but we are not capable of doing that healing, right?
Right. Right. And it's and like you were saying, it's up to that individual. Um, because like you were saying, when it comes to relationship, it can be like best friends. And so if you're in a relationship, even with best friends or people you call your friend, um, if it's draining you, if the relationship is draining you, and or if you're the only one that's always giving, if you're the one that always has to have the high note, I'm not saying we can't be there, the stronger person can't be there for the person that is in need. However, every awesome relationship brings balance,
Right.
whether it's cousins, friends, co-workers, the whole 9 yards. And anything outside of that is a toxic relationship, because it's not good for you.
Right. And we do have to think, we always hear that scenario, hurting people hurt others. We know that there's something inside of them that needs to be healed as well. So, yes, we continue to pray for them. We hope that somebody sees what they're doing and will reach out to them, because a lot of times, I don't know why we were always made to feel like, well, you just have to stay, especially in a marriage. Well, God
Hmm.
doesn't
Hmm.
believe in divorce. Well, God doesn't believe in abuse either.
No, he does not.
So
Hmm.
let's get that straight.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes,
So,
yes.
and sometimes, like you said, it might be for a season. Even like with the assistance is for a season. Maybe you have to part for a season.
Exactly. Just because you get separated, that doesn't mean you have to remain separated, and or that doesn't mean you have to get divorced. Because sometimes, and I'm saying all times, and everybody will have to do what fits you.
Right.
But sometimes separation will give both parties the opportunity to look and reflect and say, okay, how did we get here? I want to be back over here, or I want whatever. So whatever necessary changes that need to be made, prayerfully both individuals are able to do that. Therefore, they can continue to move forward together, opposed to having to do away with the relationship. But we also have to remember the word tells us that some relations, some are long, some are short, and some are for a lifetime. We have to figure it out and be strong enough to accept it is what it is when it comes to relationships.
Right. And I don't know why this image or the voice of the flight attendants keeps coming to my head. You have to put on your mask before you can help somebody else, right? And so
Right.
even in this situation, you have to become strong. You have to clear your mind of the fog. You have to come up with a decision for you. And especially if you have children, you know how this looks for them. So you have to do the work you need to do. Maybe
Hmm.
you're the only one going to counseling. Maybe you're
Hmm.
the only one who's showing up at the church to talk to the pastor, and that's
Right.
okay. You still continue your healing process, right?
Right. Right. And yeah, just showing up. For the most part, just showing up. It is not so much that you're showing up for everybody else, but show up for yourself,
Right,
because all that also ties into self-love. Nobody wants to get victimized one way or the other.
right,
Nobody wants to get their area invaded. Nobody wants that.
right,
Nobody wants their my space to get taken away, controlled, and or ruled at somebody else's convenience opposed to your own.
right,
So that's it. Just takes a whole. Well, it's like when you have faith for something. The word tells us faith the size of a mustard seed, and so that's the level of to I want to be better. I want to love myself more. Or better yet, just the simple as the simple part of just saying, I want to be me, and then re-identify who you are. God created us every 3 to 5 years. People change. That's in the anatomy. That's how God shaped us. We don't think in many areas the way we were thinking 5 years ago. We don't think the way we were thinking 3 years ago. And in a lot of cases within a year. So he has designed us to be able to change automatically for growth. But it's based on our way of thinking and our action, whatever actions we take to make sure that our way of thinking is for greater and better and not less than or just remaining the same.
Amen. Amen. And I can't remember how the scripture starts, but it says, "For him who is able to do exceeding and abundantly above all we can ask or think." People
Mhm,
quote
mhm.
that, but then the end of it says, "According to the power that worketh in us." Right? We
Yes.
forget to tell people about that part. It's according to he's able to do exceeding and abundantly above, but it's according to the power and the faith that we have that he will, that he can, that we are worthy of him to
Mhm.
do that for us. Because a lot of times we're like, well, it's I see him healing this person or I see him delivering this person and they deserve it because such and such. But you deserve it as well, right?
Yes. Yes. Everyone deserves it. He doesn't want us to be caught up. Ooh, excuse me. Um, God doesn't want us in bondage. That's why he tells us, he whom the Son has set free is free indeed. But again, that ties into your mindset, allowing your mind to get renewed on the things that make a positive impact on your life, a positive impact on your mind, a positive impact on the way you think, a positive impact on just moving forward of having a want, and then having that want to become a reality. So in essence, it's faith that's actually put into action, because what you want to see with faith, you can have it. So that invisible can become visible, so that impossible can become possible. But you have to have the courage and the energy to say, I want more. I
Yes.
want beyond this. I deserve this. I deserve that. I no longer want this. I no longer want that. So,
And
yeah.
even in, a lot of times, because I say it on the show often that people say have faith, and they're like, okay, I thought I had faith. What does it mean to have faith? What does that look like? So I think a lot of times we have to go into more details. What does that mean? We can want out of this situation, we can desire, we can pray, but at the end of the day, we have to put some action to it, right?
That's right. That's right. And the word tells us in James that I will show my faith by what I do.
Mm.
So, how much faith do you have? How much are you willing to do to get to where you want to go?
Yeah. And so it starts with a plan, because unfortunately sometimes these are not safe situations at
Mhm,
all.
mhm,
Even when
mhm,
I do know people who just, stole sat boldly in front of the person and said, "No, I'm not doing this, I'm out of here," and it was okay. But then
mhm,
there's
mhm,
some that it becomes very dangerous.
mhm, mhm.
So you have to keep going. You have to make a plan. You have to be able to know where you're going to go next. Who can you trust? And sometimes that's a process. Sometimes you think,
Mhm,
well, I
mhm.
told this person and I, I, I shouldn't have told this person because it got worse. So then
Yes,
that makes you scared to tell anymore because what will happen the next time? But
right.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
It really is. It really is. And again, it just goes back to that one word, courage.
Mm,
Having the courage, get the boldness. I think you have to have courage to even get bold.
true.
We have bold desires, we have bold, boldness with who we are, boldness in the actions that we take. But you have to have courage in order to get there. You have to have the courage to, yeah, you want it. Now you have to have the courage to move forward to get it.
Right. Because you have to have the courage to say exactly where you are.
Exactly.
'Cause a
Which
lot of
is that's
times,
one of the biggest places there. Admitting, okay,
yes.
taking it for what it really is. We forgive them for what they do, and it comes back, it doesn't come back, or whatever the case may be. but you have to make that decision for yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Set up your triggers, figure out what your triggers are,
Yeah.
set your boundaries, but all that comes later. The
Yeah.
initial part is identifying what that it is that's causing you to be in that traumatic environment or choosing to stay there.
And sometimes we've heard, because I had a friend who was like, well, I try to figure out what his triggers are. And, they tended to change quite often. So, until they're doing their healing process, you never know what that trigger is,
Exactly. Exactly. Because many people, they don't even know what their own triggers are. So how are you going to figure out what their triggers? how
Exactly.
are you going to figure out what their triggers are? You can't. You can
Something
make
you
the
said today,
assumption.
right? Because something you said today was funny, but you said next week and it's a problem. But it's the same situation, same scenario, same joke, but not funny today.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
So each
go ahead. Were you gonna say
no, go
something?
ahead. No, fine. You go ahead.
Even when you're dealing with, the people who are dealing with domestic violence, and especially if they have children, um, and they get out of the situation, they're healing themselves, but it's important to make sure we heal the child as well, right? How important is
Exactly.
it? Let's talk about that.
That's very important because this is where not only do you get counseling, but this is where you make sure your child gets counseling as well. And the counseling, in my opinion, is not the parent himself doing the counseling. However, somebody well, that's their career. That's what they do. They know how to give the counseling so that so that they can be an outlet for that child. And therefore that child can recognize it, not only based it on what they see, but even if, because sometimes some children, they'll actually carry the weight of what has taken place. They'll carry the weight of whomever whomever the person is that's being victimized. They'll take that on, and before you know it, as they go into relationships, they carry over the same thing that they were exposed to. However, I've heard of many situations where they were in that environment, and because they were in that environment, they chose to do the opposite of what was there. And that is both cases, especially the latter of, that's even strong to even say, well, because this happened, I'm never going to do this. Because this happened, I'm never going to do that. Because this happened, I'm not going to let this happen to me. But at the end of the day, based on the decision that is made, is it going to positively affect the child? So we have to constantly put the child in a mindset, or allow them to get the mindset by connecting with somebody who is in that field, so that they can be a better version of themselves, so that it doesn't go on and on and on and on. And so that they don't take on the mindset that, okay, if I wasn't here, then my parent or whomever, they wouldn't be doing it. Because the children have a tendency to take it on as being their fault one way or the other. I'm not saying all,
Right,
but many do.
right.
And so we as parents just, some people say what,
It's okay.
it's okay, baby, damn it, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, mama, it's okay.
Diamond said that might be the Chewy box. I love that commercial. Those dogs on there. It's the peanut butter box.
Diamond, come here, baby, come here, baby, come on, it's okay. Delivery taking place, so yeah,
Yeah,
FedEx was knocking at the door, was ringing the
okay.
doorbell. So, but where was I? The children,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So as a parent, just try to put your children in a mindset where they don't have to be victimized. They, by them being, as a matter of fact, by the child being exposed to it, they're actually a victim of domestic violence as well.
Yeah.
because it doesn't just mean that it happens to that individual, but anybody that is connected with someone and or can witness it based on what they've actually seen, you've actually um, become at that moment a victim of domestic violence. Now, the decision that you make within a matter of minutes determines how long it's going to stay within you to cause a negative effect on within.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
And we have to realize, and we're hearing from different coaches and therapists and people that when people deal with trauma, it actually affects your internal organism. It affects your immune and your nervous system. It affects all of that. So even children who have seen domestic violence, some of them, like you said, they thrive and they're like, I'm not putting up with this, I'm gonna be stronger, da 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 da. They go in it, headstrong thinking, but then there's some that they become reclusive. They become sick quite often because they're always worried about what's going to happen. So, again, it's however your situation is what the help you get for your situation.
Right.
And but always watch your child, and as you said, you can't be their counselor, but you can be their support. You can see how they're changing and get them help. But a lot of times they're just like, then there's those kids, they're like, I'm ready to get out of this house, I'm out of here. They hit the streets and they're not prepared for the streets.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Many that's what they do. I can't wait till I'm 16, 18, or wherever. I'm out of, just like you were saying, I'm out of this. I don't have to deal with this anymore. But then what decisions have you made to grow beyond that trauma?
Exactly. Trauma
Mhm.
is something that needs to be dealt with, and I say it all the time. You can have Jesus and a therapist, you can have Jesus and a coach. You
That's
have the
right.
word, and you go get these steps that you need to for healing, right?
Exactly, 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 exactly. Because we have to remember also, he has angels in every profession.
Exactly. That part. We go to doctors, don't we?
That's
We
right.
we grown toenail, we get having a headache and it's consistent. We go to doctors. Think of them as your doctor. Look, I need
That's
you
it.
for this. So I need
That's
to
right.
talk this out. I need to get this out of out of my head, because a lot of times you'll stay in your head, and you're muddling up the things, and you're like, and you have dreams and you have goals and visions, but you're like, no, I always was told I wasn't gonna be anything. I'm gonna be like my mom. I'm gonna be a drunk like my dad. I mean, you hear all these things, and they say words don't hurt. That's a lie.
Yes. I don't know who came up with that.
Thank you. Who
The
did
stones
that?
may break my bones, but words have never hurt me. Oh,
It was a nice concept, but it's not a true concept.
there's not a truth. No. Mm.
So tell us more about your gala.
Um, like you were saying, the theme of it is love shouldn't hurt, and we are gonna a gala, so it's I don't want to say dress to impress. However, if you were to come in just a jean suit or something, you might be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I understand, at the end of the day, is you being comfortable in who you are. Some people are not into all the other stuff, and that's fine. But the domestic violence gala is designed for healing. We are going to hear some testimony. I mean, we are going to have, and we have speakers. And the beauty in our events for Grace International, it is a unisex organization. It's not just for men. It's not just for women. Because I remember when he first gave me the vision, and that's what he told me. He said both genders have been victims of everything that you stand for. So therefore, all are invited. So if you come up on Saturday, we're going to have praise dance, we're going to have mime, we're going to have singing. We have two dynamic speakers that are coming in from Fayetteville, Georgia, and the meal is catered. It's a very elegant event. We will have a photographer on site as well. Um, and we do have a masking and unmasking, which is that's when the ceremony goes to a whole different level. Um, because at that point it's the self-identifying to
Mm.
release. So then when that part actually, when we get to that particular part is when people actually put on their masquerade mask. Because y'all know we walk around with masks on. People in church hurting, people at work
Mhm.
hurting, people in classes hurting. And when it comes to someone that has been victimized with domestic violence, you're ashamed. So that's the purpose of us putting the mask on, because then you have to make the decision to actually take the mask off. And so somewhere in between that, while we're doing the masking and unmasking ceremony, that's very sensitive time, and people are doing a lot of self-reflecting.
Mhm.
And we do some other, I always added, God always give me a different little activity to do while we're doing the masking and unmasking, to show as a representation that with God, this can happen. It can go away, but it's up to you. And then even once you make the decision, this, I'm not going to let this get to me. We have to remember that the enemy is busy. And every time that he can remind you that in a negative sense, that's what he's going to do. However, we have to have the courage again to take a stand for what we did at the gala. When we
Mhm.
got to that particular section of the event, what happened to me? A transformation is going to take place. But again, the question becomes, what are you going to do after the part? So that part is very sensitive. I used to, when I initially started, we did the Facebook Live, and since then, it's a no. So it's in person only, and we're asking everybody who comes to participate, please do not Facebook it live. Don't, all these other little things that they have that can go into play for recording. We're asking, please do not do so because of the sensitivity of the subject and the event itself. And we do have spoken word. We're going to have spoken word and unspoken word. So it's going to be an event. It's going to be an evening of healing and excitement and everything. So yeah, I'm excited. It gets more grand every year. So I'm very thankful. I'm thankful to God for all that He allows Grace International to do.
Wow, this is amazing. And so, are tickets still on sale, or when is the last day
Yes,
for that?
tickets are still on sale. As of today, ticket sales are supposed to end tomorrow.
Okay.
Because the event is Saturday, and we have to keep in mind, I have to give the extra the head count to the caterer and stuff. And what we don't want is to wait around, and we don't want the caterer to have to rip and run at the last minute
Oh,
to
yeah.
to get the foods that are needed for the gala. And I will go ahead and share the menu. You will have a choice of salmon or breast chicken, chicken breast.
Yes, roast chicken.
Oh, you have the yellow rice. We're gonna have veggie medley, um, candied yams, honey glazed carrots, lemonade tea, dinner roll. So yeah, and then we have gift bags. We're gonna have some giveaways.
Oh man.
Um, yeah, so it's definitely worth attending.
Yeah. And what time is the event?
It starts at 4 p.m. It starts 4 p.m. this Saturday. And again, I'm excited to see what God is going to do. The speakers are dynamic. And like the person who's doing the spoken word, she's coming out of North Carolina.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, we have locals as well as people that are going to do some traveling
Yeah.
to participate in this grand event this
Awesome.
Saturday. Hmm.
Now listen, the event is October 15th, this Saturday. Today is the 10th. Sales in for the tickets on the 11th. Now, if they want to get a ticket, where do they need to go to?
They need to go to Eventbrite and then look for Grace International Light Domestic Violence Gala.
Okay.
So the tickets are on Eventbrite, and For those who, you may have an issue with that, then I am on Facebook. I do have the flyer out there as well as the link. And that's the thing. If you need me to send you the link, I will send you the link. And what will happen is once you click that link, it's going to take you directly to the ticket.
Yeah.
And you have to make your choice of your meat selection on the ticket. It's going to ask you, which do you want? And that's what we're going to go by to make sure we give the accurate head count. And it also helps us to have integrity for once the event starts and the person say, well, I didn't mean to order that. And all I can say is, well, you should have gone back and changed it. Or you should have made the request earlier, because that's what we go by. And once the person, because we do have a registration, a sign-in table, because once the person does the sign-in, then that determines what color ticket they're going to receive. And so as of right now, to make sure nobody cheats or whatever, I'm not going to say the color of the tickets.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in either case, I
Y'all
know,
get
right?
event right and act like y'all got some good sense now. Come on.
Come on with me, maintain some integrity. It's food.
Yes. And
So
it is,
maintain some integrity.
and it is like we're saying, it is a ticketed event. It is a fundraiser for the organization to help throughout the year. So it is also a fundraiser, which is why it became a ticketed event, right? Because you
Mhm.
need resources in order to help others. So even if you can't be there this weekend, but you want to give a donation, whether it's for the upcoming weekend or throughout the year, you can still reach out. Go to your website, which is graceinternational.com. Is that right?
Right, right.
There you
graceinternational.com. Just straight to the website. But even with the Eventbrite tickets that we have going on right now, that you can still go on there, and it actually we have an option for that as well. If somebody would like to sow a seed as a donation, then it'll go right along with that as well. So you can do two at one time or one or the other, whichever that you're wanting to do. Because I know some people that have given donations because they want to participate, but due to, for whatever their reasons may be, they're not able to. And so that's where I came up with the idea of also doing a button for donations.
go. Awesome. See,
Mhm.
she's a brilliant lady.
Try to cover all aspects in case there are any questions. There's no room for confusion or whatever. So we try to cover down with everything. Mhm.
Awesome. Well, I think it's going to be an awesome event. I appreciate again everything that you're doing in your community, for those. And like you said, really, back in the day, we always heard women being abused, but now it's like you said, there's women, there's men, there's students, young young people, male and female, being abused even before you're into the marriage situation.
Yes.
So it's a real thing, and it's really still happening.
Very much so. And especially since with COVID, a lot of people were forced into spending a whole lot of time together. So one of the two happened. It either drew them closer together, or in some cases, it pulled them farther apart because they just got tired of being around each other, or whatever the case may be. So, and again, even when it comes to friendships at school and stuff, because they didn't have to go to school, everything was at home. And so now that everybody is back, I'm not gonna say everybody, now that many careers and systems that were in place are back in place, people are having to make adjustments.
Right.
People are having to make adjustments. And so it's up to everyone to see themselves as being victorious one step at a time and moving forward. And that relationship that that you did not need or should not have been in, then have the boldness and the courage to make the decision that, hey,
Yeah.
things changed then, things are changing now. Now I have to make up my mind to change some things for myself. I like to make the statement, make up your mind to change your mind so that your mind can get changed.
Yeah.
And
Say it again. Say it again.
make up your mind to change your mind so that your mind can get changed.
Yes. Come on.
So it all comes, so it all comes with making that decision.
Yeah.
And then even with the word fear, with Grace International, we actually use it as the antonym. Um, we hear fear, false evidence appearing real, face everything and recover. So God gave me anonym where it says fearless energy activating resilience.
I saw that on your website. I was like, that's cool. I like that. And
Yeah.
so say that one more time too. Fear.
Fearless energy activating resilience. For us to become resilient from the trauma, the sting of it. The trauma is there, but the hardest part is getting over the actual sting of it.
Yeah.
This is like somebody gets stung by a bee or even a mosquito, you know, getting beyond the sting, because when it first happens, it's like ouch, and or it starts itching immediately.
Yeah.
And it takes time for that to heal, for you to get beyond the sting of that bite. So it's the same thing when it comes to dealing with trauma. To get beyond the sting of that trauma is also where the healing process goes even to another level.
Right. Because as we know, some bees, when they sting you, they leave the stinger in there.
Yes,
And so you have to, that's the first thing. You're like, huh? Okay, okay. Take it out. Because the longer you leave it in there, the more poison you're getting in your body, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's time to
Mm,
take out some stingers. It's time to heal thyself. It's time to know that you are worthy. It's time to know
yes.
that you are capable of being an
Yes.
overcomer. God's word is He has no respecter of person. Whatever healing He has for one person, He has it for every person. It is
Exactly.
available, right?
Exactly. It's like the domino. There's one
Yes,
domino that can keep on going.
thank
So that
you.
you can, so that for the better version of yourself.
And so that's like Lady Melinda. She up there at the head of the dominoes, and so she keeping it going. She, whatever healing she has obtained, whatever knowledge she's obtained for this situation, she's passing it on. And so
Yes.
we hope that somebody who's hearing this today, you might be in the situation where Melinda was years ago, and then you never know, you might be leading your own organization, having your own gala, having your own seminars with women and
Yes.
men, and even in the schools. We really need people in the schools talking to these youth, to the youth, about decisions that they make, because every decision you make today, you will live out tomorrow.
Yes.
So
And one place we do not talk about it is in the church.
in the church, yeah, that too, that too.
Is in the church. But statistics, it doesn't say uh, okay, this is a stats for Christians. This is a stats for the church. This is a stats for people that are in school. But the stats are just that, the stats. One out of every fourth woman is abused by domestic violence. When it comes to men, one out of every seven is a victim of domestic violence.
Wow.
So that's like whether you at a big church, small church, in between, whatever the case may be. If you have more than 7 people at your church, I'm going to go for, if you have 10 people within your congregation,
Mhm.
2 are getting abused one way or the other,
Wow.
or even both.
Yep.
But that's something, it may, when you have a message, some people they'll preach on being free or whatever the case may be, and it's gently mentioned. But when it comes to the church, there's no training given on that. But then if somebody's in a situation, then they'll be given the opportunity to get the counseling that's needed. But what about the training that can take place that will make them aware?
Right.
Because that's what it's about, being aware of it, being
Right.
aware of it, you know. Yeah.
And even the preaching that goes forth, that when the abuser is in the room, they can hear that they can be healed, you know
Yes.
and they are understanding what abuse does to their
Mhm.
family, to the person that they're abusing, to their moms and their grand. I mean, it's older people out here these days getting abused by their adult children. So,
Yes.
oof, it's
Yes,
so
and the
much.
seniors, the senior that are in the retirement homes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are working with them, they don't take care of them, and the seniors. they're just say they have a challenge, it's moving around, going from this place to that place, and some of those attendees or aides, let me say it like that,
Mhm.
they abuse them because they're maybe not walking fast enough or not turning over fast enough or whatever, and the next thing you know, that's, an injury or whatever takes place. Well, that's domestic violence right there.
Yep,
So almost
absolutely.
domestic violence can exist in almost any and every situation, any and every facility, one way or the other.
Exactly. So we
Hmm.
have to be vigilant. We have to watch over our children. We have to watch over our grandparents and parents. We just have to we have to be there. We have to be present. And so, it's a lot, but anybody who's going through any of those situations, whether it's your parents in the nursing home and you're not really sure what's happening, do not be silent. Talk to those administrators, be creative, how you can figure out what's taking place. There are other facilities. Just because you put your parent in that facility doesn't mean they have to stay in that facility.
Right, right. And then as being awareness, when you have awareness, sometimes you can actually sense that somebody's getting abused. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go up to that person saying a whole bunch of stuff, because we
Right.
have to remember one of the number one things is they are ashamed. But you can easily, doing praise and worship or whatever, stick a note, let a note or something fall in their purse.
Yeah.
Or when you walk past, you can actually just give them that kind of handshake or whatever the case may be. And then that can be an outlet, the beginning of an outlet for that person to take a deep breath.
Yes.
So we don't necessarily have to do stuff all out in the public and make an announcement about it. And I think something may, give me a call. I think something may be going on with you or whatever the case may be. You know, just you can gently make stuff known, or that people and or situations are available to them.
And that's a good point because especially if their abuser is in the presence with them or close by,
Yes,
you don't want
yes,
them to overhear that kind of stuff. So just, be mindful, um, because we don't want to cause the situation to get worse. We want to be
right,
a help, not a hindrance.
right, exactly. Say that part again. A help, not a hindrance.
Help,
That's
not a hindrance.
right.
And we
Mhm.
want to keep them safe. We don't want to use our mouth to abuse them all over again.
All
Okay.
over again. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And we have to remember also, and one thing I would like to say is an encouragement for a person who's deciding to make that decision. Even if when you go to your session, it's not rushed. You may have to go through 2, 3, 4 sessions before you actually even say one word,
Yeah,
because it may take that for you to start feeling comfortable around that individual. And if that's what it is, if that's what it takes, then so be it. Because you best believe they're going to get their money.
exactly. And I told something you were talking about. They call me crybaby all the time because for me, I might have to go to 3 sessions and just cry because I
That's
haven't been
right.
able to cry anywhere else. Can't do it in front of my
Exactly.
kids. Don't want to do it in front of my parents because I don't want them to know what's going on. So I might just have to go to those sessions and cry,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's okay.
It's that part right there. It's okay. It's
Hmm.
okay. And then you just find out, if we just pay attention, a person gives off through their body language. Which, like, one thing I found out, I used to cross my arms all the time, and a lot of my family cross their arm. Well, I later, once getting involved, I realized that's another means of, okay, this is my space. I'm gonna
Hmm.
let you get near my space. And when you think about where it's located, your arms are right there in front of you. So a person that crosses their arms, they're protecting their heart,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
the heart is right there. And then one thing I had, as far as keeping a pillow, like anywhere I sit, I would, if there's a pillow there, I'm gonna grab that pillow and, and rest on it. That's a means of me cushioning and loving on myself, because pillows are soft. And I
Hmm.
always put that in front of me, so that becomes a barrier again of my space.
Wow.
And so, go ahead.
Which is another reason, if you're looking for some breakthrough coaching, You need to reach out to Lady Melinda Sue. Because I mean, who I didn't think about stuff like that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just pay attention. You can pay attention to yourself or something you may notice, like somebody who always has to have, they're always wearing a t-shirt, no matter what.
Mhm.
Another means of protection and making that person feel making those are self-made control measures
Mhm.
that a person, and that's what helped them get in their safe place. Because when they're in control of that safe place, say and do whatever you want to do because they're being comforted in that moment based on what they come by. Just like a child, sometimes they well blanket, sucking their thumb or whatever, playing with their navel or twiddling. A lot of people you'll find them they're twisting their hair.
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much that they're bored, but at that given time, that's what's giving them a sense of peace.
Mhm.
That's what's taking them in that place at that given time, rather, to calm the nervousness, to calm the uneasiness, whatever that negative emotion is. At that point, that's what they're doing. Now, some people pull their hair. I've heard of people pulling, gauze of their hair out and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, I doubt I ever do that because that hurt.
That do hurt.
That does hurt. So I know I'm never going to do that one. So, but if we notice that, then we have to understand, okay, there's an emotional thing going on with this person. And it's here we go again. You don't just blotch it out. You can gently have a conversation in reference to, yeah, my hair this, my hair is that. And I've noticed, like, am I doing that, especially since I went to my microlots, that actually opens a window for a person to release.
Mhm.
And so then you can actually, at that point, just start giving some stuff in reference to taking care of the hair, opposed to pulling different stuff out. There's so many different ways that
Right.
we can bless people and giving them an eye opener of doing this instead of that, because this is still a negative that you're allowing to take place. So that person abused you, but you're actually abusing yourself as well because you're causing that's a pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pain, a
Mm.
self-inflicted pain. So again, it takes courage to just move forward.
Yeah. See,
From the simplest thing, it takes courage to move forward.
this is why she is Lady Melinda Sue. So we're going to take a quick commercial, Melinda.
Okay.
There's actually a lady in South Carolina area who's running for board of trustees for the
Mm,
Rock Hill Student Board. So we're gonna run that commercial. It's real quick, maybe about a minute or so, and then when we come back, I definitely want you to remind people where they get their tickets, how they can reach out to you if they want more breakthrough coaching, and just your last word of encouragement or a piece of advice, whatever the Lord lays on your heart. Okay.
okay. While you're doing that, I'm gonna grab some water.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. All
We'll
right.
be right back. So that is Stephanie Hasselrig that you saw there. She is running for Rock Hill School Board of Trustees. I don't remember the seat, but early voting, I believe, starts October 14th, but the
Mhm.
official voting day is November 8th. So make sure you get out there because, again, we were talking about changes that need to be taking place in our schools. Hearing the parents and the things that they are worried about in the school system, the changes they'd like to see made. And when they're not getting heard, they're going to a different school system. So if you can change your school system and make it better, because we want to keep enrollment, we don't want these other schools to be over flooded and the teachers can't help. And then you have these teachers here who are out of jobs. So again, let's open our ears. Let's put our hearts and minds on the table. Let's not be selfish. Let's do what we need for the students of Rock Hill, South Carolina. And so you guys know we're making connections with Aly. We are here with Lady Melinda Sue. She has been talking about her organization, Grace International Light.
Yes.
So tell us what that stands for again. And they are having a gala. I think one of us says gala, you say gala. I can't remember, but tomato, tomato. Y'all
That
know
part.
what we're talking about. Y'all dress up and look nice and go eat and support an awesome event and a something that needs to be talked about even more and more. And if you go, you can make some connections.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
you'll hear somebody's story and it's like exactly like your story. Maybe you'll hear
Yes.
somebody tell about the feelings they're having through it because maybe you haven't completely healed through it. But that's the thing
Mhm.
about coming together. We can help one another through. So, Lady Melinda, she's also a breakthrough coach. And so she is, I mean, she can help in so many areas. So, Lady Melinda, tell us again the date and the last day for tickets, but even there's an opportunity for donations and all that good stuff.
Yes. Yes, there are. As you stated earlier, ticket sales due in tomorrow, as well as, and the tickets on the flyer, it says 50 tickets are $40. And the donation amount is whatever donation amount you would like to bless with. Again, you get your tickets. The tickets are sold on Eventbrite. And again, just go to Eventbrite, type in Grace International Light, domestic violence, or just type in domestic violence and it'll pop up. Again, our theme is love shouldn't hurt. So, and everything that takes place within the gala, it's a healing process. It's not to get caught up in a woe is me, but rather it's to acknowledge and make a decision to heal, even if it's just for you to even say, to be able to look in the mirror and say the word.
Right, right.
It's not saying that you're going to come here, a blunder and walk out a wonder. No, we're not saying that. However, you can do that if it's the smallest thing, as far as you growing and or healing. So I guess on that note, I guess it is, walking in a blunder and coming out of wonder. It doesn't mean that you're going from 10 to 100, but from, let's just do 1 to 2, you
Yeah.
know, one moment at a time. One day sometimes is too much. So we're just one moment at a time. Take a breath, breathe, and move on. And that's what's going to take place at the gala. We will also have vendors there, as well as I will have a merch table there. So if you would like to purchase T-shirts or whatever the case may be, we will have a table set up for that. And yeah, come on out, men and women.
And if they want to reach out to you for coaching or, just to have a conversation,
Even
um,
yes, yes.
tell us
And
about your
then
website and your contact information.
okay, yes. Website is Grace International Light. And the International Light is, yes, just like that. The international is abbreviated. And so Grace International Light, just as you see on the screen.com, it takes you directly to our website and it's informational. Almost anything that you want, we can supply, because I do have people that I'm connected with that can help you. If I may be the initial point, the contact for you to be able to get additional assistance in whatever the case may be.
Right.
Um, I can be reached also on my Facebook is Melinda. There's my personal one is Melinda Sue, and then the one for ministry is Grace International Light. Oh no, I'm sorry. For Facebook, it's Grace Light, but for me is Melinda Sue. So the combination of two, you can just drop message me and we'll take it from there. Also, area code 803-319-3371. Please leave a voice message. I promise you, if you do not leave a voice message, you will not get a return call, because people butt dial all the time.
That's
And
so
I'm guilty of it. So I know what that takes, because I'm gonna leave a message.
that,
So
and
if
everybody's trying to do the Medicare and stuff like that. So, leave her a message so she
leave
knows to
me
take
a
her
message.
time and call back.
Yes, yes, and yes, that is crucial. And if you don't mind, I'll just briefly introduce. We have a 5 stone program as well as a 12-week program. The 5 stones is based off David and Goliath. He had 5 stones, but it only took one to do what needed to be done to get rid of that ginormous, huge man.
Exactly.
And so overall, that big thing is the trauma. And then one stone at a time, we'll knock out being ashamed and all this different stuff like that. And with the breakthrough, that's based on oh goodness. Oh my goodness, bless my heart. I can't think of it right now. So, but
I think you said
oh goodness. I guess I should
12
have a flyer
weeks
in
or
front of me.
something. Is that 12 weeks?
Yes. And oh gosh.
Okay.
It escapes right now. I should have a flyer, my brochure and stuff right here with me, but
Well, I
I
tell
don't.
you what, but she's giving you the information, so don't let
And you want
that
my
be an
site?
excuse for not reaching out. She's giving you the information where you can
Yes.
contact her and find out more, and it is on the website. So,
Yes. Yes.
yes. And so I also, I hate they're both going on the same day, but in the Charlotte area is the Black Family Reunion. So if
Hmm.
you can't make it to South Carolina, but you're close to the Charlotte area, attend the Black Family Reunion. The website for that is www.bfrclt.com. Thank you, Alan. You be on it, honey, because I'll be like, what's them letters? www.bfrclt.com. It's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Maybe you can start off in Charlotte and then go to South Carolina. They're not that far apart. Whatever
No, they're
you need to do. But we are making connections with Allie. And don't forget Safe Haven Project, where they're collecting items for those who are in crisis. Is a number, but the Cash App you can send a donation to. Thank you. BFV. No, that's a VP. BVP Safe Haven. That is the Cash App for sending donations because they're collecting coats and shoes and everything as we're getting ready into the winter season. So, man, this hour goes by so fast, and I'll be so enjoying the conversation. I'll be learning stuff. I'm gonna be watching people. Be like, oh, she got a pillow. What's that mean?
I know, right? I'm telling you. I'm
But we
telling
are making connections with Allie, and that's what we do. We make connections with resources, with people that you need, information that you need, inspiration that you need to be able to move forth and live your best life, to take your
you.
family to the next level. You guys can
Yes.
do it. Like she
Yes.
said, maybe it's one moment at a time, but take that moment to see what you can do. This that'll put you in a better space, that'll make you feel better about yourself, that will remind you that God has no respect of person, and abundance is your portion. Healing is your bread. All right. So we are making connections with Allie. We're here every Saturday at 12 noon and every Monday
Sorry
at
about that.
2 p.m. That's okay. Every
Okay.
Monday at 2 p.m. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We need some more subscribers on YouTube. We started putting our video on YouTube. So we need some more subscribers, making connection with Allie. And so, hey, we're here. Our information, if you want to reach out to us through email, is info@aliciajohnson.com. That's info@aliciajohnson.com. And go to the Facebook. You'll find all that stuff. Our shows are filling up. I think we have 7 slots left for the year. If you want to get on the show, go to this link, calendly.com/ making connections TV. All right, I gotta run, but listen, go ahead, go ahead.
My cash app, I forgot to give you that information. My cash app.
Yes, yes.
And that is the dollar sign, and it's Lady Melinda one, the number one, because there's only one Lady Melinda Sue. So Lady Melinda with the number one
And
is the
Melinda
cash
is
app.
Melinda. So
Yes.
Lady Melinda and the number one is her Cash App. for
Yes.
donations or helping. Like I said, even if you can't do it right now, but you've been inspired by this video, please like and share this video because somebody else needs to hear this information. Even if it's January and you're just hearing it, you can still donate. You can still reach out because Breakthrough is available at any point in time, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I did forget to say this. And for Christmas, we do collect blankets for the Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And again, if you would like to donate and or get in contact in reference to that project, last year we collected over 200 blankets, and we were able to actually give some to the Children's Hospital, as well as Rehabilitation for Men's Center, as well as a organization for women.
Yeah,
So all of so it's just a matter of going above and beyond to help the community, because we
absolutely.
know what blankets are a sense of security, right?
Yes, yes. They bring you warmth and comfort.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
listen, I'm going to say this. You never know where you are. You might be good today, but you never know. But I believe in seed time and harvest. I believe if you plant a seed, whenever you need it, it will come back to you.
That's right,
Okay?
hundredfold.
Yes. Okay, I know Alan's like, look, she better get out there. But we
I'm done.
won't talk about Alan. We thank Alan for everything because he is so patient with us on the show. We get excited and we have so much information to share. So, Alan, thank you so much for your support and everything you do to make this show what it is. And so we got to go. But as always, until next time, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day,
Amen.
everybody. Bye, Melinda.
Bye, Allie.